Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a change maker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Only the Best for You, here on Global Voice Radio. My name is Carol Davies of the Passion Motivator Coaching Company. I'm so pleased each week to share with you the best information about how you can be a change maker and to make the world and yourself a better place. Today I'm reporting further to you on a topic that has long intrigued me. How can you use overwhelm to change your life? It's time for you to gain control over your life again. Do you ever feel that you're out of control? If you do, then hopefully what I'm going to be talking about today will have some valuable tips for you. What causes overwhelm? In short, the primary causes of overwhelm typically come together in a combined equation, and it goes something like this. Too much to do, too little time to do it. Expectations that you have of yourself, of life, and that others have of you, leading you to believe that you should be able to do it all and you should be able to cope. A sense of trying to keep up with life and a perception that if you can't, then there's something wrong with you. So you keep plugging along, unwilling to allow that to happen. It feels like you're running on empty. You keep going and going until you have literally no reserves left in your energy or in your body. You become literally burned out, exhausted, sleep deprived, and or possibly malnourished, either physically and spiritually. You get stress buildup. This includes anxiety, tension, fear, and worry. This also takes a toll on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's like trying to operate from within a fog, and you never feel clear or in control. And you have limiting perspectives layered on top of all of that, which causes you to think there's no way out and no answers regarding how to change things. This can cause stress, overwhelm, depression, you name it. You feel like life is happening to you. You feel like you're out of control. You feel things could change if you could just get off the merry-go-round for a moment and take a breather. But you don't see how that's possible. And so you continue to sink down further under the weight of everything I've described. So what could be the root cause issue of overwhelm? At the bottom of it all is the fact that you lose yourself in the doing. While you are a powerful divine soul with unlimited potential, creativity, inspiration, possibility, passion, you're also a human being. That means you have a limited amount of physical, mental, and emotional energy to give into this world each day. So you have to get really smart about what you give that energy to. If you deplete your energy over and over again and don't replenish it, you will go into the minus. And you can only hold a deficit or a minus for so long before you burn out. It's not rocket science, but it's due to the way your mind has been conditioned, with limiting beliefs, fear, expectations, and societal pressure, that you struggle to live your life in a manageable, balanced, and healthy way. You are unconsciously driven to push yourself further and further into overwhelm. When you lose yourself in doing, it means that you're entirely focused externally. You're all about action, coping, keeping up, producing results, going places, getting things, making things happen, meeting commitments, all of that ends up coming before your primary need. So what is your primary need? It's to be connected to yourself, irrespective of doing. That means having a sense of calm inside yourself that you carry everywhere you go, a sense of personal power and control over your life and actions, a sense of choosing your direction, knowing that you have the ability to create and hold a stillness within yourself, and a sense of being tuned into your intuition and regularly tapping back into that every day. This allows you to feel balanced and know that you're running your life in a good way. The inner part of you should drive the outer you, which are your actions and way of living. Unfortunately, overwhelm occurs when the outer drives the inner. This is when external life comes before any commitment to your inner state. And as a result, whatever goes on outside of you in life is therefore dictating how you feel. So you're not in control. Life is controlling you. So this goes to the heart of my message today, that we have to do inside-out creating. We are inside-out creators in every sense of the word. People who are not enjoying life and are stuck, overwhelmed, stressed, and unhappy are most of the time living their life in illusion. Their mindset is stuck in the reverse equation of outside-in living. Outside-in living is where they're focusing on doing over and above how they are being. People think the results create their happiness. They focus on the outside world for validation and recognition. They drive themselves to create, do more and more, strive more and more. All of this without any acknowledgement of the fact that what they create and their entire happiness depends on their inner state of being first and foremost. That means it depends on their beliefs, giving rise to their thoughts and generating their feeling processes, all of which they can consciously manage and direct, and can manage any overwhelm as a result. But if you're not tuned into yourself, this becomes very difficult. So essentially, you have to take back your power. Here's a few steps I'm going to suggest to help you dismantle your overwhelm. Then, if you really want to get out of overwhelm, you will need to change your way of looking at yourself so that you have a healthy and accurate perspective of yourself and your life, getting you out of the limits that society has conditioned into you, that you have to keep doing more and more. It's time to free yourself from the mind-made illusions that produce overwhelm. You can take on a lot in your daily life and still maintain a sense of inner peace, no matter what goes on day to day. You have to set up your inner self as a priority so that you do have the capacity and energy to cope with all those outer demands, need for activity, and pressure if you wish to. If you continue to put pressure on a shaky foundation, it will eventually collapse. You don't want that. So here are some simple steps and questions to prompt you to stand back and look at your overwhelm in a new light today and to regain control. First of all, identify the extent of your overwhelm. Is it due to situations, or is it just generally pervasive in most of your life. That means, are you primarily overwhelmed about a particular thing or a series of things in your life? And outside of those situations, you're able to find some ease? Or is the overwhelm pervading every area of your life at times, no matter where you are or what you do, and is not seemingly coming from any individual commitment or situation? If you realize this helps you gain clarity. Clarity gives a sense of empowerment as you know what your starting point is. Point number 2, identify how long you've been having this overwhelm. Is your overwhelm based on circumstances which you know are only temporary, or is the overwhelm related to something in your life that is seemingly here to stay? What this really means is, can you see a light at the end of the tunnel? Because the triggers for your overwhelm are only passing through your life experience or not. This helps you gain clarity. And clarity gives you a sense of empowerment as you know what your starting point is. Point number 3, identify what shifts are critical to make in your life. You always have 3 options to make empowered change in your life, no matter what is going on. You change your way of being. This is your inner self, based on beliefs, giving rise to thoughts and feelings. Or you change your way of doing. This is the outer way, your actions, behavior, circumstances, or a combination of the 2. You change both your way of being and your way of doing at the same time. You shift your perspective and take new action. In relation to your overwhelm, look now at what needs to shift and what you can change. A shift in your being is always available to you and always important when in overwhelm it is necessary to do. A shift in your actions or circumstances can also sometimes be important and possible. However, if you just change what you do and where you are with no regard to your inner state of being, then you simply carry the old inner patterns of overwhelm with you, and that doesn't work. This means the potential is there for overwhelm to create over and over again in the future in the face of new triggers if you don't face what is causing it. Ideally, getting out of overwhelm involves both a shift in your paradigm, your inner being, or bringing brand new perspective and new inner tools to work with, and a shift in your actions, thus affecting your circumstances. Point number 4, give up your story. Most people who are in overwhelm have a story that keeps them stuck. This affects their ability to change their inner way of being and their outer way of doing. If that is you, I really empathize because I've been there. But I just want to be very clear that you need to know what your story is, because you won't get out of overwhelm unless you start to see things in a new light. Sometimes we get a bit addicted to the drama of overwhelm and stay trapped in a perspective about what is or isn't possible. We totally miss the fact that we could shift things if we would just release our attachment to our story for a moment and see things from a new angle. The story that usually keeps people stuck is a combination of, I can't change my actions or circumstances because I can't get out of this commitment I have to do because, or there's no other way to proceed or to be about this because it's stressful, dreadful, whatever you want to put in there. This doesn't serve you because stress, fear, and related feelings are all symptoms of your perspective. And a new perspective is always available once you break down your story. Once you look at your story, you will start to see what is keeping you stuck in overwhelm. If you look at your 3 options for change, what I just outlined above, and then look at your story, start to write down what you can shift inside yourself or outside of yourself to alleviate the overwhelm. If you start to say, but I can't because, then your story is keeping you stuck. In that case, I suggest you play a game that goes like this. If I put all my reasons, evidence, excuses, and blocks aside, and if anything was possible, and if those buts weren't real, what could I change inside myself or outside myself to move out of this overwhelm? We have this incredible way of blocking ourselves with these stories. For example, I can't do that, or I must do that, and leading ourselves down a one-way road to misery because we can't see any possibility for how things could be different. Often when you drill down with a little support to move past your own perspective, you'll find out that there's many paths to any outcome. There are many, many ways to create small changes. There are many ways to rebalance priorities and many ways to reconnect to your inner self in order to gain control over your life experience. It may be that you need a small inner shift, or it may be that you need to totally change what you do, how you spend your time. The prospect of changing your life that way can be very frightening. And more stories can come out of that, like, I can't stop that because he or she relies on me. I can't change that because that would mean I've failed. I can't give less time to this pastime because that would be rude or selfish. He or she will judge me if I'm not doing this, and I don't know how to manage that. Or financially, it's not possible, so money has to come before my sanity and health. Well, there are answers, very positive answers to all of the above. You have to shift your inner perspective, and that will move your energy. For every decision that you make, if it proves not to work out, there are literally tens and hundreds of other alternatives. You just have to change your way of thinking, look to see, is there another way to do something? Your energy is creating your life. So as soon as you shift your energy this way, then things in your life will start to open up and change for the better. Even if you haven't taken any action externally yet, just a shift in your energy vibration will begin the transformation of circumstances. You will start to come out of overwhelm and into balance. You may not agree with the word balance. I also suggest my clients look at it as the word harmony, because everything then works together. Now, point number 5 is reevaluate what's going on. Really look closely at exactly what you think is the external trigger for your overwhelm. After all, the root cause in your circumstance is a trigger. It's not the root cause. The root cause is always your disconnection from yourself. However, that is somewhat connected to an external trigger that you can point to that seems to make you feel overwhelmed. Look at your circumstances and all that you've been doing in life and ask yourself these questions. What can I stop doing? What can I start doing? What can I remove from my life? What can I adjust? Where can I spend less time and reserve more energy? What can I add that will help me get more harmony? What does my physical body need? Am I spending my time and energy on people, places, and things that are meaningless to me, but I don't know how to get myself out of it? What does my intuition tell me I need to do right now for mental and emotional relief? What is essential that I continue with? What is non-essential that I have made a priority and that I am stuck believing I must do? What are the major things I feel I can't manage or get away from or get back into harmony? Are these really, truly all or nothing? Here's a tip. Often what we think we can't change or we wish we could walk away from, or it just seems like it's do or die. But in reality, it's often not. It's our default perspective that makes it so. Luckily for us, we can change our perspective just because we choose to. But choosing to change, as I said before, it can be frightening. Here's a few more questions. Ask yourself, have I linked my self-worth to any of these things I'm trying hard to do or be that are causing my stress or burnout? Is that why I can't seem to pull back and rebalance myself? Because I've linked my value to them. Have I put external commitments over and above my very core physical human needs to be well? Do I realize that I must get into harmony now, either inside or outside or both? Because first and foremost, life is about being happy, well, and balanced. Do I see that everything else beyond that is a dance, a game, a play with life, all of which depends upon me being healthy and sane in order to participate? So what if you choose to do things differently? How can this help yourself? Answers to these types of questions are very important. So what I've been asking as questions, you could keep a journal or an ongoing book you write in and write down answers to these as you perhaps think of them. And here's another point that you can do. You can anchor yourself with what we call rituals. Often overwhelm takes control when we don't have something that will be a counterbalance in place for the stress, busyness, and just general feeling out of control. It's essential to have some well-being practices or rituals that support you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Well-being is not something that happens by mistake. It is something you choose and create. Two people could be faced with the exact same circumstances and pressures. One person may sink because those pressures are the only thing they're giving their energy, time, and focus to. The other person may sustain and manage the situation with greater ease because they are balancing the challenges with equally positive energy through rituals or daily routines that they manage for their very best health. Rituals are any activity or experience you consciously create and repeat over and over again for your benefit. This might be on a daily or a weekly basis. These are activities specifically chosen by you because you know they help you. They make you happy and relax you. They revitalize and rebalance you. They help you to stay present by quieting the noise in your mind. They remind you of the deeper meaning in your life, and they nourish your mind, body, and soul. These rituals have frequently been called life anchors because they ground and stabilize you as a regular practice, so that in upsetting or busy times, you don't get so knocked around by events and pressure. The thing with rituals is that they are not a sometimes practice, but an always practice. Meaning you don't turn to them when you hit rock bottom and then drop them when you feel better. Instead, you create them and live them all the time because you know they are what keep you in balance in the good times and in the challenging times. Often in crisis and overwhelm, people drop whatever isn't a necessity in order to free up time, space, or energy to cope with the stress and pressure. And guess what they keep? The things that cause them overwhelm. And what do they drop? The habits or rituals that keep them in balance, health, and happiness. This is so strange, but that's what most people do. And I have to say, in the past, I used to as well. So to avoid that, you can identify the rituals that will support you, put them in place, prioritize them, and stick to them consistently. Such holistic well-being rituals can be as simple as a daily meditation practice, daily deep breathing, yoga, writing in a gratitude journal. There's many, many things that you can do. So right now, one simple suggestion I have is if you're feeling overwhelmed, please just implement 10 minutes every day of deep breathing in stillness with your eyes closed. Deep, slow breathing, while focusing your awareness on your breathing, will help to quiet the noise in your mind. It will connect your mind, body, and soul together and give you a sense of personal control. So it's a question of having proactive or reactive strategies for overwhelm. As I mentioned, that's 10 minutes a day using deep breathing is a proactive daily ritual to bring you a sense of calm. You could do it early in the morning when you get up, during your lunch break, just before bedtime, or more importantly, anytime you're in overwhelm. And in reaction to that feeling that here's what to do. Here's another couple of quick suggestions as well. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you want to do that deep breathing, pause for a moment when you feel the overwhelm. Go into a quiet place if you can for a couple of minutes. Leave your desk or office for a moment. Go outside. Even if you're in a group setting, just stand back a few minutes. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and tune into the present moment, which helps you tune out the noise in your mind. And remind yourself over and over, I'm doing the best I know how. That's more than enough. I truly hope that you will find some great takeaways from my talk today. If you want further information about how to get out of overwhelm or talk about more ideas with me, please contact me through my website, www.pureflowmedia.com. period, thepassionmotivator.com, or by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, you can change your life at any time and become the success you want to be. I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.